All right, welcome to this episode of the Road Hunter Podcast. I have an awesome guest today, Mike Fisher and Ted Johnson. I met Ted years ago working. I think we worked at an insurance company together out at that A&W root beer at that car show. I think is the first.
That up in Oakland,
up in Oak Ridge.
No, Oak Ridge. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And we tried to sling some insurance to some classic car folks. And then along the way became friends based on our mutual love of fishing.
True.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about fishing. We've I don't think we've ever actually gone fishing together though.
We were supposed to in the middle of COVID. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then you called up, very politely and said, "I've been exposed.
Yeah.
Should I stay home?" Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't want it. So, but now we're here together to talk about some really sounds like fun adventures the both of you had and put together in that early 90s, late 80s part. And then we've also talked a little bit about some other fun adventures that I think will pop up along the way. But it was great as they were reminiscing before we started here about, oh yeah, remember? And I think that's why we're here, because we all go out in the woods, we all go out on the water. We like the outdoors, and just fun stuff happen along the way.
Sure has.
So, Mike, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit of introduction about who you are and like how you and Ted
yes,
met and started your adventure.
Okay, so of course Ted and I are family. His father, rest his soul, married my wife's mom. And that's how you were selling something to loggers.
Yeah, software and
to the logger industry.
Yeah.
And he slowly got involved in the insurance business. And all three of us have those kinds of associations.
Yeah.
But Ted got into the business, and that's where Mike and Ted's Fishing Extravaganza came from.
All right.
And it was just kind of us just laughing with one another about some of the dumb things that we've done, and why not continue the tradition?
Yeah. I exactly
Share the
But
stupidity.
just bring a whole bunch of other people to do it for us.
Yeah. Oh, well, because we can all laugh at each other, right?
Oh gosh,
Yeah, absolutely. We're not laughing with you, that's for sure.
Yeah, eventually that's true. It can become very funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Ted and I have been family for 40 years. So originally we started fishing together on the Mackenzie River.
Okay.
And what I didn't know is that Ted had the boat and he was the oarsman, but he was legally blind, not knowing.
So what he's saying.
Trying to say that we both lived, but because I didn't know, I was like going, "Hey, dude, there's, you might want to move a little left," or that kind of thing. And he goes, "Yeah, my eyesight's pretty bad. You got a surgery after the fact." And
Yeah.
then I started rowing. No, I'm kidding. I think we sold the boat.
Yeah.
But we started this thing. Not necessarily to promote people. We started it to generate enough money for both Ted and I to go to Alaska, all expense paid week.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't charge a lot per guy, especially when we started getting 70, 80 guys going and paying. So it wasn't a non-profit by any means, but it wasn't a lot of profit. It was just enough for us to go to Pybus Point, which was
Admiralty Island,
Juneau South, and we would go there on a yearly basis after we put on the trip. So
Awesome.
You can go ahead and add if you want to while I'm gibbering here about it, but it wound up being a really, really fun time. We got once Ted and I went to Alaska a couple times. We decided to start taking people there.
Awesome.
And so we put together a really, really fun trip, getting to Juneau, flying out of Juneau in a float plane to Admiralty Island and fishing there for a week with all our buddies. Anyway, so yeah, The fishing was phenomenal. It's a lot different, since I've been to Alaska 27 times now. I didn't go this year. The guys sent me a couple pictures because I'm supposed to be there now. The sockeye on the Kenai is just absolutely great, but the halibut fishing used to be so good there at Admiralty Island. Flat water, sunshine, porpoises, whales, bears. We saw it all. It was really amazing experience. So that continued us on. It's like, hey man, this is great. Let's just keep doing this other thing at Diamond Lake, and we did it for 14 years.
Yeah,
I think so. And then Ted was promoted, and it we just didn't have the time together to sit down and say, do we want to do this? Even though all the guys said, hey, when are we going to do this again?
Yeah,
we're just like,
and they still call to this day.
Till this day.
Yeah, when's the next Mike and Ted's, man?
We do a reunion. Come on, you guys. It's like, hey, we got old and we're tired.
Yeah.
But
so anyway,
you still fish. So.
But yes, yeah.
Well, and Diamond Lake had some challenges over the years too.
I sure did.
With the chewy chubs,
yeah.
And, right?
Yeah, I killed it twice, 1950 and then again in the 90s.
Right.
But
well, they brought in the kamloops to eat the chewy chubs, and that didn't work because they ate everything else. But that was good fishing for a few years with those great big kamloops in the water.
when we're doing this, it just brings back these.
Yeah.
So the old wooden boats that we talked about that they rented at Diamond Lake, we would go at opening day, and Ted and I would be in this old wooden boat, and we'd be just running the engine as hard as we could into the ice. It was an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
But it worked. And so we ground our way up maybe 50 yards into the ice, and then we dug holes in the ice, and we caught so many fish just jigging little yellow jigs like this. We came back with just a massive amount of fish, and everybody on the dock was going, where'd you get those? And Ted says, the open water over on the south side, you want to troll a green frog and you'll be fine.
And by God, if Diamond Lake didn't sell out of the
the
green frog
yeah.
that day when we came in, because we actually changed the lure on our rods from the yellow jigs to the green frogs, so that when people walked by our boat and saw us with our limits of fish, when they were only catching like 2 a day.
Yeah, it was.
We had 10 a day or 20 a
20 a day
in a couple hours,
And they were so big that you had to dig the hole out bigger to get them out through the ice.
True story. We were catching huge
True
fish.
story.
That's awesome.
Biggest one I think I got one just about 12 pounds.
It was huge. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you don't get fish like that anymore.
Yeah.
But there.
I can appreciate what you just said, that they would go out and sell out of those frogs, because I remember when we would go to Diamond Lake, it was all about a certain color power bait with the garlic dip.
Yeah.
And you couldn't find that stuff anywhere at those stores, because everybody used like the green power bait with the garlic. And it was probably not even what people were actually catching.
Probably not.
Well, the guy in the parking lot with the big parka. $85 a
Green
jar.
frog.
Yeah, that's right.
Take this one over here.
Absolutely.
Moneymaker. Yeah, so we've got all kinds of those stories, but so Ted and I we're fishing ever since, until we both got real busy in the insurance business, and you moved up north, and I've been in this house for 34 years. So it used to be just an old farmhouse, and I've done all the rest, and now I'm paying the price, physically. But so Brad, I mean, whatever questions you got, I'm sure we got an answer.
Yeah. So when's the next Ted and Mike's fishing extravaganza?
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, there's one that we haven't been able to answer.
Yeah, we don't have an answer for that one yet, but one of these days
It'll probably just be start out again just with Mike and Ted.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a lot of fishing with my own boat and my brother's boat, and Ted's always welcome to go. You're welcome to go. And we're going to start getting out into the ocean here after August 1st.
Awesome.
That way, if the ocean doesn't accommodate with the bar or the wind, then we can always fish the river for kings after August 1st. So that's kind of our plan. But I've got guides, friends of mine that I fish with that are phenomenal fishermen, and I've learned a lot from those fellas. So I've got some booked in August and September up on the Columbia.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what is, I guess I'll ask both of you separately, what's your favorite kind of fishing?
Well, when we started fishing together, we bought ultralight rods, and they were like super ultralight, and we would drift fish with worms on the Mackenzie, and it doesn't matter what size trout it was.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah.
and so we did that, and that was a ton of fun. And then we started doing the Mike and Ted's, and then we started going to Alaska, and of course that changes everything.
Yeah.
When you start catching halibut that are 100 pounds, and you're down rigging with catching the kings and the silvers, and you're seeing all of the killer whales and porpoises. You're right next to your boat. I mean, really cool stuff.
Well, yeah, and I guess I share the same passions. Growing up here in Oregon, trout was the thing.
Yeah. If
you caught a steelhead, that was great. Caught a salmon, that was even better. But really, the target fish was trout. And then Mike and I went to the Nushagak one year and flew up out of Dillingham up to Robert Nelson's camp, and we spent 10 days up there.
80 miles up the Nushagak.
Yeah, and we were catching rainbows that were an average size of 8 to 10 pounds, and catching 50, 60 of them a day. I mean, it was just crazy.
This guy here, he was funny because that particular trip, you didn't want to use the mosquito repellent.
Right.
well, that's no good.
Looked like he had chicken pox the next morning.
Yeah.
Because it was 100% DEET. And of course, that's not good for you, but I never got a mosquito bite. This guy over here. Anyways, Nushagak was awesome. Steelhead fishing for me is probably the king.
Yeah.
They're just so much fun, especially up in the peninsula in Washington.
Yep.
Where they've got the native runs up into Lake Quinault, which is Indian reservation area. You have to be with an Indian to fish that, but you can go up into the Queets, and we used to for years go up into the Queets and camp. So we'd go up 7 miles to a place called Talichi Creek. We'd make camp there. We'd fish Talichi Creek, and then we'd break camp, and then we would fish down with our backpacks and make camp again, and do that for about 4 nights.
Wow.
And man, I'll tell you what, I mean, was an amazing fishery.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can remember when I was younger, my grandpa would take us to the Sierra Nevadas, and we would hike way back up into those lakes and then work our way back down and camp, and couple of just fond memories of backpacking and fishing. I don't necessarily think there's much better outdoorsy things than doing that kind of fishing.
It's true.
Yeah.
The camping alone is awesome, but then you throw some steelhead on top of it. It's like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so we did a lot of that. But so steelhead for me, Ted hasn't done well, he's done his good amount of salmon fishing and steelhead fishing. So salmon fishing is just, it's so fun. Mm-hmm. They're bigger fish. So I was up in Alaska, and this was before the regulations changed. Okay, this is like I don't know what year it was. I was 48. I'm old.
Older than 48.
I'm older than 48, but it was a long time ago. And I caught a 58-pound king, and I caught a 52 and a 51 just the first day without being in a guide boat. That's how amazing the fishing was.
Yeah.
And of course, I just kept one. It was just a one fish limit. Now you can't. They closed it all year for kings. I mean, through the whole peninsula. Bummer. Yeah. Of course, commercial fishermen are just raking.
Yeah.
But which is unfortunate because that's why we have our regulations and all the Europeans that come over. because they have no fisheries anymore. They're all dried up.
Yeah.
So you're standing there on the bank, and you got a dude here and you got a dude here, and neither of them speak English, but they're just killing the sockeye.
Common language.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Absolutely. Connect over fishing.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's always that, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Universal.
Yeah. And you know, that to this day, I don't care if the trout is this big or, you know, it's that same like adrenaline hit, rush, whatever hits. Like, I got a fish.
Right.
It's true. Yeah.
I don't think it ever subsides.
Yeah, you know, my wife would say that just makes men, you know, simple.
Yeah.
No,
true.
it does not. It doesn't. It's just that, you know, we can go out and have this common experience, and everybody's high-fiving, and everybody's going, man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't think women have, unless they're buying new shoes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they're high-fiving each other.
Yeah. You're killing it, girl. It's like, okay, I'm not invited.
You know, we're both
Appreciate
in
that.
trouble now.
Yeah. This is recorded, fellas. This is recorded.
Oh, that's okay. I can't wait to watch it.
So, yeah, I think that common. My son and I, we talk about this all the time when we're in the woods, because our thing is we're more hunters than fishermen.
Okay.
But on the hunting side, when we leave the house, the optimism of seeing an animal is high. And then when we're coming back, we're like, we might not have seen anything, but it's like, okay, tomorrow we're going to, like, these were some really great areas, and we're going to go over here and we're going to set up on this. And just the optimism stays there all the way up to the last day. And you're like, crap, we haven't got nothing yet.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I stopped hunting.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm kind of kidding. Ted and I rented a motorhome and we went to China Hat.
Yeah.
It was so hot. If there was a deer anywhere near, they would hear us because it was just crunchy. And there were so many bees.
Ooh.
And so we were playing cards in the motorhome, and I said, I'm so sick of these bees. They're everywhere. And so I got this wild hair idea, and I had a pack of beef jerky, and I was chewing it all up, and I would put it in a bowl, and I'd pour a bunch of Jack Daniels in with the jerky, and then put it out away from the front door of the motorhome, and these bees were just having a heyday. But have you ever seen a drunk bee?
No, that's funny.
Yep, right into the ground.
Yeah.
It's like World War II, man. These planes just go out.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
I forgot about that one. That was funny because that was entertainment for us, because it's like,
What else are you gonna do?
what else are we gonna do?
Right.
Play cards and watch drunk bees.
Yeah. You walk out into the forest and get lost. But anyway, yeah. So
Yeah, I'm gonna imagine that was back before On X, right? Like you didn't
that was
have GPS in your hand.
Oh
so
gosh,
you
yeah,
knew.
long before. Yeah, any of that. Yeah, you just see a couple guys out in the middle of the forest just looking up.
Yeah, that's right. Over there.
That looks familiar.
I remember that tree.
Yeah.
It looks like that tree.
I think we're close.
7 hours later. My son and I, we were walking this ridge when we were elk hunting, and we lost the group, and we had to make this decision, like, do we walk back through all of those ravines, or do we bomb off the top and hit the road, and the road's pretty flat, and then head back to camp? One way was like 4 miles, and the other way was like 12 miles, and it was like, 4 miles of up and down or 12 miles of flat.
Yeah.
We went with the 12. I don't know if that was the right call.
Really?
We don't know if that was the right call, but it was it was a terrible choice either way.
Yeah. We've all made terrible choices. My mother, who was always worried about me, normally, as a child, I would tell her about an experience after the fact that I had, whether it was in the river or the ocean or whatever. And she said, Michael, if you were a cat, you'd have one life left. Kind of hit home.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't keep doing this.
How many times are you gonna stretch that fate?
Yeah. So I fessed to her and said, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna be a better son. and
Just not tell you.
and I still, but no, I still have one.
I still have one. That's a good motto right there. I still have one.
Yeah.
I still have one.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to Mike and Ted's Fishing Extravaganza.
Okay.
We got the why you started.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing it grew very quickly through word of mouth, because I think we're all looking for that opportunity to hang out with other like-minded folks doing fun adventures. But before we started, you talked about some of the things, and we have some what are these?
Oh yeah,
We have some
flyers and
fun
invites.
flyers, and I'll these up the. We have a song, which is really great. Pretty funny. And then, some things, just to maybe think about along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like you guys put a lot of effort into making this experience an experience for folks. So maybe we can talk about what all went into creating a Mike and Ted's Extravaganza, and maybe what was the appeal for folks to come and hang out with y'all.
Well, when we first got started, it was like, well, we got 3 weeks until opening day. Let's grab some people and go, right?
and most of those people were customers of ours.
Yeah. So we knew them, and
They
we
were
fished with them,
insureds.
and so we kind of organized it a little bit, and one thing led to another. And the last few were very orchestrated, and we would, plan this thing out like 9 months in advance. And because we had people calling us, one of the things is, when is it going to be? How many people can I bring?
How many people could I bring? That
Yeah.
was usually, it was like, oh, we're not ready for that.
Yeah, and
I want to bring all my buddies. It's
Mhm.
like,
yeah, it was,
all of a sudden, you've got this little arrangement of what we were doing, and it turned out to be like explode,
yeah.
because then we had to talk to the Diamond Leg.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we also had sponsors, and so the sponsors got involved. Lure Jensen, for the last couple of years of the Mike and Ted's, would send us these big boxes of stuff that we could hand out. We had Fishtail Ale out of Olympia, Washington, which is a brewery up there, and they would bring down a number of kegs of beer that was included in the price of coming on the trip.
Yeah.
Not necessarily one of the smartest moves that we did to provide free booze to everybody, but
It was a draw.
yeah, and we had GI Joes on board, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't hear of GI Joes anymore.
No,
much,
I think they
and,
got bought out by Dick's.
They
Yeah.
did.
Yep.
And so we had, and so we loaded up on gear, going to these places and telling them about our story, and this is what we do, and you talk to the right person, and they donated gear.
Yeah, and that would be for the auction. Actually, we had an auction on the very last night, and we had some really cool artwork that people had given us, and
Yeah.
we were auctioning them off, and it was for the proceeds of two broke fishermen that want to go to Alaska, right? And that's where that went.
That's where it went.
And 1 year at the final night, we dressed up in Scottish kilts, and Mike and I were I don't know what you would call us, but
I'm not gonna elaborate on that because this is recorded.
You're right.
But we had theme nights.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had Playboy theme night. Okay, and Ted was Hugh Hefner.
Okay.
Okay,
That's obvious.
Yeah. I was, when I think of you, Hefner.
Yeah. You think of me?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't any close to that. I was one of the Playboy bunnies.
All right.
Yeah. So I got the prosthetics and everything. I look good. I mean,
No doubt.
and Boda.
Boda,
That's his nickname. Chris Bryant was our neighbor over here. I talked to him a couple days ago, and he was the other Playboy bunny. And so we got up in front of everybody and all dressed up. We did it with
Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers was a really good one.
Yeah.
Jake and whatever his name was.
Elwood.
Elwood. We
Yeah.
had it on our knuckles tattooed. Jake
Yeah.
and Elwood. And we dressed up, had the ties and the black suits, and we turned the music on, did the dances that, we did that. Braveheart was a good one because, we were wearing kilts. And then we had Grandpa Night.
Mhm.
And we invited everybody that came to be a part of the dress up, whoever was the best grandpa got a gift certificate and a plaque and gear and free trip the next year, that stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that banquet night was really fun. We had a guy that had we called it a pig coffin. You wouldn't dig a hole in the ground. You'd bring in this pig coffin. He would roast an entire pig. And he started that
220-pound pig.
Mike Egbert, what a trooper he was, man.
Yeah,
and
he was awesome.
He would bring in this big pig, and that was what we would serve on the final night, right? But we would have the parade of the pig the first night. So after the knot tying contest and the singing of the songs and the camaraderie, we had these fishing simulators.
Oh gosh!
That we had multiples in there, and people were.
Okay, hold on. We had the fish simulators come in from the Portland Sportsman Show,
right?
And
what year was this?
95, 94?
Oh, probably.
So fishing simulators in 95, I could only imagine.
Yeah, they were more like 92, 93.
Yeah.
But we would talk these guys into coming to our trip for free and bring your simulators.
Yeah.
And they were big screen simulators. I don't know if you've ever seen them. You had the rod in your hand and you could see the bait on the screen.
Box had these big pulleys and stuff, and it would pull based on what you're seeing on the screen.
Wow.
And it was really pretty
and then
cool.
all of a sudden out of nowhere comes this big king salmon and it takes your bait and it's like it was a simulator. It was just like you were really doing it,
and had an actual rod in your hand. Yeah.
And so we had all the guys on the simulators. We were all drinking beer, and then we said, hey, this is a good idea. We bought everybody a blowgun.
Oh, that's right.
With stainless steel darts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the bad idea. This is such a bad idea.
You can imagine where that went. Mm-hmm. So we had targets, and everybody would take their blowguns, and it was a ton of fun. But luckily nobody got an eye out. But
that we know of.
That was.
You were insurance guys.
I know.
Oh man,
I thought about that all the
time. Well, along those lines, we had one night where we would rent the main house at Diamond Lake as sort of the gathering place for the first night. People would check in there and stuff. And Fishtail Ale was there with their beer, and for whatever reason, we ended up with 2 or 3 cases of Jack Daniels in this spread around. Oh. And so we poured these shots of Jack Daniels and we put them on trays in the house, and people were free to have a shot or Boilermaker, whatever they want, just hang out with us, right? Mm. And we had nuts and we had some other little stuff, red licorice and all this stuff, right?
Yeah, and so they all come to this house.
Yeah.
And then we had seat assignments like I have in here. It says, okay, you 4 guys are in this cabin.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they were usually friends, and some were more dangerous than other cabins. or potentially.
Yeah. But the cabins were named also, it had different themes on each cabin. But anyway, we were at this the initial night reception of everybody, and they were all hanging out in this big house that we had. And we had never had anybody ever injured. We had a guy snagged one time in the cheek, with a lure, and his nickname then became Snag.
Yeah,
right. Love you, right?
He's got the sweatshirt.
Yeah, he got the sweatshirt, the whole thing, and so we were really excited that we could put on this event, and kind of at the end of that initial gathering, we were headed over to the pizza parlor, I think, and taking everybody over there.
Oh God, we had buses of guys.
Yeah, and so one guy comes busting through the door, Brad. Right? He's going, you got a guy in the parking lot. He's throwing up blood. I go, oh my God. And so we jump up, and here's the guy.
That's exactly what it was. We all thought he was dying.
Yeah. There's no hospitals up there,
It's in a minute. Klamath Falls is pretty far.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But instead of blood, he had too much Jack Daniels and too much red licorice, right?
Sugar and alcohol.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And he's a good friend of mine. His name, his first name's Jeff. That's good enough, right? So if I do show this to him, he'll laugh because we really thought he was dying.
Because you probably were all maybe a little bit down the road as well.
Not a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously that's gonna.
It depended on the cabin.
You know, that year was kind of fun because Mike and I, at that time, the Diamond Lake had bought some sort of party barge thing, right?
Oh gosh.
And we thought, well, let's rent the party barge because we were renting everything else there. We had every boat rented in the entire place for our group,
I've got
right?
some great pictures of
And
that.
we decided to have lunch on the lake instead of having people come in for a sack lunch. And we put a barbecue, right?
In the pontoon boat.
In the pontoon boat, right? and it was a little windy that day. A lot windy.
We had cook hats on. We had cook outfits, aprons. Mine said Ted and had an arrow to him, and he had one that said Mike with an arrow. You know, not like they couldn't figure us out. You know, that's how dumb it was. and so we had this barbecue just rolling with hot dogs and hamburgers, and we were just motoring up to guys that were a part of the group and feeding them lunch.
That's
And then the barbecue fell overboard.
We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, okay.
We almost burned down the party barge. Good thing it wasn't wood like the boats.
That's exactly right.
Canopy caught on fire. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. But yeah, that was one particular day
Yeah.
because the trips lasted 3 nights.
Yeah.
I think
2 nights for the guys coming.
And it
Right.
was 3
And
nights
then we
for
were
us.
there a night early usually. Yeah. Check things out and get things rolling.
But Diamond Lake just absolutely loved the fact that they would put it up on their reader board.
Yeah.
You know, Mike and Ted's 13th annual, whatever. You
Mhm.
know.
And we pretty much had every cabin, every room rented, right, for just our group. It was almost like a private gathering at Diamond Lake.
And I'm sure there, you know, we offended people.
Oh, of course you did.
You know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But so Ted and I would be catering to everybody, dressed up as whoever, the Blues Brothers, and the pig was done, and the pig would come out, had an apple in its mouth. It was beautiful, right? And Ted and I never ate any pig because by the time we were ready to eat, after the fact, there wasn't any left.
Everyone had just destroyed it.
Destroyed it. It was destroyed.
Well, it must have been good.
Oh, I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Should call Froggy on that one.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
should. Froggy's the big guy.
He's the big guy. What's his nickname? Was Froggy.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I mean, there's all kinds of stories, Alaska stories. I got a couple really good Alaska stories, but I'm not sure what you want to hear. But
Yeah, I think maybe as we roll into that, you mentioned that there was a hat for someone that did some of a bonehead sort of thing. So, what kind of things would earn you a hat?
we called it the boner hat because you made a real boner move.
Yeah.
You know.
And you'd have to wear the hat the whole next day. I mean, that was the thing.
Yeah, and it was a rubber chicken hanging out of a hat like this with rubber legs at the back.
Yep.
So
Perfect.
If you really did something stupid.
So you knew that person was the one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
they
that-
earned it.
But that even went at like Diamond Lake. And remember Neil, I won't say his last name.
Yeah.
And we did the Parade of the Pig, where we would hoist the pig up on 2 people's or 3 people's shoulders, and we'd walk through the whole resort of Diamond Lake singing our song and toasting it with beer at midnight before it went on the grill. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, there was a knock on Mike and I's door. I thought everybody had gone to sleep, right?
Oh, no.
And it was Diamond Lake, and they were kind of upset. And they go,
Somebody.
they go, we want our prime rib back.
Oh no!
Apparently, one of the guys got a little obnoxious and decided to
He went
help
into
himself.
the kitchen
and got the prime.
took the food out of the freezer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was their food.
Yeah. And so we had to return the prime rib.
We found him walking around with a prime rib.
You're like, so where'd you get that?
So that's a boner hat.
Yeah.
You know,
that was he was boner the next day.
He
so.
was the boner.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, you were saying.
Yes.
So so just dumb things that people would do that could get you the hat. We kind of have that at Failed Outdoors. We have Failed Outdoor hats, and if you go out hunting or fishing, you don't get anything, you get the you earn the skunked hat, and so
Right.
it's whatever it is.
Yeah, the boner hat was really good because they had to sit at dinner
Oh, yeah,
with it
okay.
on.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody, were making their remarks, but ultimately, if you earned a nickname, then we put it on the next year on their sweatshirt like this. This one over here was that says rookie.
Yeah.
So this was a one that we made up for the new guys
Gotcha.
because they were rookies. They hadn't earned anything.
Yeah, and if you earn a nickname, like that's what I like tell my son. He earned the nickname when we have an elk camp that we go to in Eastern Oregon, and it's a bunch of guys, and he earned a nickname, and it was Badger, and I was like, dude, that's a good nickname.
That's a good one,
like, dude. Own it because it could be so much worse.
It could be so bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
that's true.
I remember the guy. I forget the gentleman's name, but he was really funny. Always a little bit on nerve, and he got away.
Alaska or Diamond Lake?
That was Diamond Lake, and he got a little too much Jack Daniels or something in him, and the next thing you know, he's kind of face down on the couch somewhere. And so next year, his nickname was Lips. And he got upset about, what am I going to tell my wife?
My wife. That's my family. Just tell them the real story. You're on your lips.
You're on your lips, and so.
Oh, yeah. Yes, everybody had a nickname, Sweet Cheeks. When you went into the bar there at Diamond Lake, they had the local girls working in there, and there was
the employees.
The employees.
Yeah, not local girls.
yeah, employees. Sorry. I apologize. And, we'd be playing pool and, having fun. And the employees would ask about the costumes, and I can't further that one.
Yeah.
But, you're wearing a kilt. You never know what's going on, underneath. Right? So, you just kind of kept them on edge, Anyway, that goes on and on. But, so let's see. Pie in the face. So whoever won the derby, the fishing derby, the biggest fish.
Okay. Was it the biggest or the most or both?
Biggest. It was the biggest fish.
And pretty much everything was catch and release because we really didn't want to run a tournament, and kill a bunch of fish and stuff like that. So we were taking people's word for a lot of it.
So this one fellow, the one fellow that caught the biggest fish, he was the one that was able to put a pie in last year's winner's face. Right.
All right.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they all took it very well. It's a price to pay for not winning the next year.
Yeah. But then we had other characters that would come on through. The person, the knot tying king, is in Catamaran, if you remember that.
Catamaran.
Yeah, he won a trip the next year because he tied the best knot. And what we do is we give everybody a swivel and a hook without a barb and a piece of 5-pound monofilament. You tie the hook and the swivel together with that monofilament at the end, and then you would form two lines, and two people would come to the stage with their hooks and their swivels, and they'd hook the swivels together, and
then they would
pull against each other, and whoever broke off, right, then they were out. And so that's how you would figure out.
And the guy would go on, and Captain Ron won that year, and he was so proud.
Yes, he was.
I remember that.
Yes, he was. And then we had the unknown accordion player.
Okay, well, before we go to the unknown accordion player, who had a bag on his head, just underwear and a bag on his head, and would play the accordion up on the stage, while we're eating dinner or whatever, right? Well, this same year, Ted and I were in Oakland, Oregon, and we decided to drop by Oakland, Oregon, and we went in because there was a bar there, and we went into this bar, very historic Oakland, and there was an elderly, I don't know, she was 80 years old, and she was playing the piano.
Stormy.
Oh gosh, that's right.
Stormy was her name. Yeah.
Was that her real name?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I thought maybe we gave it to her.
No.
So we went up to her and talked to her and asked her if we would pick her up and take her to Diamond Lake, and if she played the piano during the dinners. and would pay for everything, and she'd have her, she'd be in the hotel or whatever, right? She said that would be a blast. And so we had this really old lady playing the piano.
Playing the piano, yeah, that year.
So, if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
That was funny. She loved it, man. She loved the attention.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the unknown accordion player got done doing what he does, and he ends up being another family member of ours. He comes back to the table to join everybody else because he was the one that played the accordion. He was a pretty good accordion player for one song,
But he was being heckled.
of course he was.
And
yeah.
he came to our table and says, "I'm never doing this again."
Yeah.
It's okay. We don't blame you.
Of course not.
Throwing shit at him.
Right. Yeah, it's like the Gong Show. Remember the Unknown Comic? Same
The Unknown Comic.
Sort of.
It was same thing.
Same sort of thing. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So Boda wouldn't mind me telling this story.
Sure.
And I Sandra is never going to watch this podcast, but
Right.
Boda would really enjoy it.
Sandra is his wife.
She still lives
Yeah.
right next door, and anyway.
Oh, so this could get dicey later.
Yeah.
Quickly.
So he really, really wanted to go to Alaska with us, and we said, well, we can make accommodations. This is what you're looking at. This is how much it's going to, price wise. And he says, I'm in. And I said, okay, we're good. And so he became one of the 7 guys that went with us to Alaska. And we went, there was a little river that came off of a waterfall, beautiful place. We called it Little Pybus.
Yeah.
And we would fly fish in there and catch silvers and Dolly Varden and, which are char. You a Dolly Varden?
No, never seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, they're beautiful fish. But they're always, you're trying to catch a silver salmon in this huge pool, and you're stripping your fly in, you could just see the dollies coming, and the silver would back away. It'd come at it and back away, and the dollies would hit it, and you got really sick and tired of catching dollies after a while.
That guy really
you catch hundreds in an afternoon.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean,
but we let them go. We weren't taking; they were a char. But
so Boda hooks one.
Boda hooks a salmon,
Mm-hmm.
and he then began to tell us that he felt like his marriage was over. He started to go down this road, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I used my wife's credit card to get here.
Oh.
And then he was in this pool, and he was dinking around with this salmon, Brad. He was on his knees, and he didn't want to keep the salmon. You could tell, and he was going through this little ritual thing, and he let the salmon go. What are you doing? Because we could keep that.
Yeah.
Play that.
What he had done.
Yeah, and he was really silent after that until dinner time, and then he kind of explained what he did.
So he reached into his pocket
with the salmon when he was down there. Right?
With the salmon, because the salmon, he was going to release the salmon, and he reached into his pocket and he got this rubber band. He took the rubber band and he took his wedding ring off, and he put the wedding ring on the rubber band and put it around the tail of the salmon.
Oh.
Okay, and then he let the salmon go, and off. It was kind of his way of saying, I know what's going to happen when I get home.
Yeah, thanks for using the credit card. By the way, we got to talk.
Ooh.
That was a good one. That was a good story. But and he's a happy guy, and she's not, so I'm cool. She's my neighbor. I would have to live with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that was awesome. Oh, here's a good one. For you people listening, you're going to like this, because this is what gets you the boner hat. So after we fished and we went back to the lodge, I gained 12 pounds in like 7 days. The food was ridiculous. It was the shrimp that we got from the bay, the seafood, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, we ate like that on a day to day. Well, we got to use skiffs after dinner and it was light out, for a good part of the evening, and we would go halibut fish or whatever. And there was this little island in the middle of the bay, and so we took the skiff, and there was 4 of us, and we went out to this island, right? And of course we had guns, and
Always a good mixture.
and and we had great dinner, and of course we'd been drinking, and we got onto the island, and we saw there was movement on the island.
This is not a very big island.
No.
4,000 square feet.
Yeah,
It's not very big.
It's not big. And my an insurance guy friend of ours up in Portland, he took out his 357. He goes, "What is that? What am I hearing?" And out runs a turkey. Boom! He shoots its leg off. Okay, now it's got one leg and it's hopping around. And I said, "Hey, man, we're not shooting anything out here, okay?" And he's like, "Man, that was fun." And so, next thing you know, there's more turkeys on this island. And then there was this sign, and it was flat on its face, right? And we picked up the sign. And what did it say?
Without using
the F word.
Profanity, yeah. It said, "Don't shoot my effing turkeys."
Uh-huh.
They were owned by the guy that owned the lodge.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's bad news.
we never did tell him.
Well, we actually did.
We did?
Yeah, because remember that night at dinner time, I took Alan aside and go, "Do you have turkeys?" And Alan said in private, he goes, "Are you shooting him?" "Not personally, right? But I know of one that got shot."
I know one that didn't make it.
You might want to get that one for dinner.
Yeah, and so he goes, "I'm going to get him," because I told him who did it. Sorry, Mike. And not this
not
Mike,
me,
another Mike. And so at dinner, Alan the next night announced that the Fish and Game were coming in to the Pybus Bay, and they were going to spend the night because they do turkey counts, right?
I bet that guy got all sorts of.
He got all sorts of worked up on that one, and nobody told him what was going on except that Fish and Game was going to show up the next day, and they left the turkey on the island dead. Right, and so they were going to find that one of the turkeys got shot.
Had been shot, yes.
Yeah, and so anyway.
So we were really worried that we, even though we admitted it,
Mm-hmm.
or Ted did, that there might be some repercussions, and
that was a boner hat moment.
Yeah,
that was the boner hat. He was wearing that at dinner.
So this traveled with you everywhere you went.
Everywhere we went,
just,
absolutely,
the Diamond Lake thing.
It traveled to Alaska.
Nice.
We brought the boner hat with us, and there was definitely some boner moves.
We had an opportunity one time to take another trip while we were in Alaska. We got done fishing at Pybus for a week, and then we escorted the group back to Juneau, got them on a plane, and then we went to a little town called Yakutat, which is further north. And we knew a lodge owner up there, and we were going to spend a week, Mike and I, fishing, the rivers, and they had halibut fishing and that sort of thing. Wasn't as remote as Admiralty, but it was still a really good experience. And so we went to a place that had invited us.
Yeah. But, Yakutat was a really fun place to go.
Yeah.
When you flew in, and it may still be the same, when you fly in, you see the motel to the left as you're progressing onto the runway, and the sign was huge. It was almost as big as the restaurant. It said, "Lodging, food, booze."
That's right.
I don't think you could put a sign anywhere in the U.S. that just was advertising booze.
Yeah.
Because that little town of 2,000 people became 30,000 people when all of the silvers came in, and you'd fish the Seatuck River, which was beautiful river. Ted rode that river. Man, that was fun. It's just really, really, and there's bears right on the bank looking at you. I got photos of these guys. You just go, whoa,
Like, it's a different kind of combat fishing, right? It's not dude, it's like dude bear.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you were talking earlier while we were setting up about, drifting the Willamette. Instead of 3 miles, it was like 12 miles.
Yeah.
I remember them giving us instructions because they had dropped the boat off at this bridge. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And then they said, just leave your keys in the rental car that you have. We'll move the car back down to the takeout. And they said there's this dead snag in the middle of the river, and that will mark your halfway point. So we get up there maybe about 8 o'clock in the morning, get on the river, right? And we're fishing and fishing. My back was out, so I was rowing just to keep it loose, and Mike was fishing. And about, 6 or 7 o'clock that night, we finally came up on the snag. Oh my God, we're only halfway. And we, and so, well, we're not stopping now.
Hurry up. Oh, yeah, that was on the Sea Tuck.
Yeah.
And then his back got so bad because we were only halfway, and we had to get, down there to where we needed the takeout. And his back was out. And the next day we were supposed to go fishing on the Aquay, which is a remoter river that is well, you didn't go because you were flat on your back, but it was a glacier fed river. So unlike the Sea Tuck where it was gin clear, the Aquay was cloudy, and so I went by myself in this little float plane, and they took me over, and these two dudes dropped me off by myself on the ocean, the coastline, and they said, well, we'll be right back. We've got to go get the 3-wheelers. And so I'm standing there and looking both directions as far as I could see. It was just absolutely gorgeous, right? And ocean breaking, and I look down and I see all these strawberries. I mean, for as far as you could see, they were wild strawberries. And these guys, I said, where'd they go? Come on. I'm out here standing by myself. And come to find out that strawberries are some of the bears' favorite food, right?
Berries.
And there I was, standing by myself.
Second favorite food.
yeah. At that moment.
They're like, oh, these strawberries are, wow, Mike, how you doing?
So he told me that, and I almost, myself, and because I'd been standing there for a long time. Anyway, we fished the Aquay, and caught our silvers, and told lies, and came back, and Ted was still on his back, and well, I'll tell you what, some of those places that you go to, and you go to the marinas, they're gorgeous. The marinas, they're as an insurance person, it's a huge liability, because the boards you're standing on are, you're going to fall, you're going to break the board. So you had to pick and choose where you're stepped. And all these boats were in the marina, and they all had their lights on, and you could smell them cooking crab, and it was getting dusky, and everybody was really, really nice, and they would invite us in, and here's some crab, and here's some wine, and just hang out, and just tell us about yourselves. It was that fun.
Yeah.
So those are awesome experiences.
Yeah.
But contrary to that, remember when we were up on the Chit River at Robert Nelson's place, right?
On Nushagak?
On the Nushagak, right? And Robert announced one morning that we had guests showing up who were true Eskimos, right? And it was a married couple, and they were going to come and join us for dinner. And I got kind of excited. I'd never met an Eskimo person before, right? And so I was, as we were fishing during that day, this is going to be a real neat cultural experience, because I'm going to meet Ulog and Uke, right, for dinner. Yeah. And so they show up in their boat, we're ready for dinner, and they're walking up, and they're leather skinned, just people of the element, right, coming in, and I'm looking forward to the introduction. And Robert says, well, this is Frank and this is Rosa, right? You're They're in there with them, right? Well, tell me about your life here. Well, we watch Friends every night, and we really like that show. What, in your igloo?
They're like, no, in my house.
In my house, yeah.
It was kind of like a needle hitting the record when you thought it was going to be a cultural experience. While I'm just going,
That's right.
You're like, this isn't exactly what I thought.
Yeah, it was fun. They were very nice people.
oh, do you remember that episode of Friends?
Yeah.
Come on. It was fun.
Let's talk about, killing a harbor seal or something,
Yeah, were
But
you ever attacked by a bear? Or,
Yeah.
did you ever go way up north? None of that.
But we were up all really close, to the, what do they call it, the South Slope. I mean, we were way up there.
We were 80 miles up the Nushagak when, and this is a different story because you weren't a part of it when George and I went up there.
Yeah.
But, and we got dropped off and the rest was National Geographic. It's a different story altogether, but it wasn't with Ted. But it was up the Nushagak, and the fishing was phenomenal. There were bears. I got dropped off on the other side of the bank, and there were a lot of sockeye in the river, and I was standing there near the river's edge, and I hear these awful sounds coming up from the top of the mountain behind me, and there was two-year-old grizzlies coming down the hill, and the front one had a big fish in its mouth, and the other one was trying to take it from
Wanted it.
and when they really want something, they make quite a ruckus.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at these things coming downhill right at me because I was right there, and there was only two choices for me. Of course, I had a gun, but I might as well shot myself. But it was either swimming to the boat, which is across the river, or just stand there and wait and hope for the best, and not, hopefully mom's not coming down behind them.
Yep.
And they came down right next to me, didn't even see me.
Wow.
And they went right, and I was left, and that was amazing. I think I might have done something in my pants.
Yeah, I was like, it was amazing, and then I checked my shorts.
Well, it's like the time we hiked up Little Pybus for the first time, right?
Oh yeah, you had the gun out and everything.
Yeah,
dude.
we had gun, but we had Alan with us. Remember, Alan had his long gun with him. He was the owner of the lodge, and Anita, my wife, heard that we were going to an island that's considered a preserve for the brown bear.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had read somewhere that if she takes some
Good story.
elastic and puts bells on it and have it attached to your belt loops, as you're walking through.
You ever heard of bear bells?
Yeah, they're just,
That's the thing.
yeah.
It's a
And so
thing.
you put it, and you just walk up there and you hear the ding, 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 and I'm in the back of the group. There's like 6 of us walking, and people are ahead. I'm back with Alan, the guy with the gun, and he's laughing. That's this bear bell thing because we're making more sound than you can.
The bear bells are real.
Yeah,
You wear them so you don't get on a
Yeah,
bear.
pick up a bear. Yeah.
They know
Yeah.
that
Right.
you're coming.
So we were coming across this, all this scat and stuff, and Alan kind of nudges me and he goes, "Do you know how to tell the difference between brown bear poop and black bear poop?" I go, "I have no idea. How do you tell the difference?" And Alan says, "The brown bear poop has bells."
Bells in it.
Yeah.
And we were wearing these bear bells. How dumb was that?
Yeah.
But we did it.
Well,
With guns out.
We got to give everyone else a laugh, right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
sure. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. That's what life's about.
I've scratched my head more times on the side of a mountain going, why are we here? And why did we do that?
Mhm.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But then you come back and you laugh.
But you were an
like,
entire optimist, while you were there.
No, yeah, I was going to find whatever I was looking for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
fun. So those are some of the stories that we've got.
It sounds like you guys have had a lot of adventures in a lot of different places. So what adventures are you doing now? Like, what's your next adventure?
Well, I've been continuing to go to Alaska.
Mhm.
Not necessarily remote trips,
Yeah.
like we did when we were younger. I have a customer and a friend that has a lodge in Soldotna, and I've taken friends there.
Mhm.
Kind of like what Ted and I used to do when we went to Juneau. And we would halibut fish, and we would sockeye fish, and we would kingfish when there was, when you could.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all changed, so it's a lot different up north than it once was. And I'm only talking about 20 years difference. And
well, we went down to Mexico when we fished on the inside of the Sea of Cortez. You went a couple times. I went one time with you guys, and we fished for rooster fish. And
yeah.
And
that's still on my bucket list. Is a rooster. I tried. But you've got to go into Mexico, fish. We were in Zihuatanejo, and then we jumped in a van and went down and went to a place, and we would fish for really like to catch the Dorado, but you wound up catching sailfish all the time instead of the Dorado. It's like, man, this is a pain in the ass catching these sailfish. You get tired of catching sailfish or marlin. I just wanted the Dorado and or a rooster. The roosters you catch near the breakers, but the Dorado, you have to find structure. You find structure, you're going to catch a Dorado because they just live underneath the structure. Log jams that are floating.
Okay,
you'll always catch Dorado there. But just in the trolling for them, you're going to get a sailfish typically. It depends on time of year. It says the best Dorado fishing is in August. Well, if you want to, be in a boat with 117 degree, the 100% humidity.
That's not the most optimum time to go to Mexico.
No, I'm
for
like,
vacation.
I'm a white guy. I'm not going to go down there and do that to myself.
I need SPF paste.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, with a putty knife.
Yeah, I just scrape it on.
So we've done Mexico trips. I've been to, most of it was scuba diving for me, in the cenotes and in the ocean.
Very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff there. But yeah, so Ted and I have been to Mexico a few times. Some good fishing there. Better scuba diving.
My bucket list, I got scuba certified when I was in college. I have yet to scuba dive in a really nice place. I got mine in Hoodsport, Washington. I don't know if you ever
I know exactly what you're talking.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
Oh, it's terrible.
Dry suit?
Yeah.
No, wetsuit.
7 mil wetsuit.
You were okay. Yeah. So that's what we did. Wetsuits.
Yeah.
And then the crinkle suit came out, or the dry suit, and it's like, I've been wearing a wetsuit for a decade or two.
Yeah.
You put a dry suit on, and it's like, man,
this is so much better.
You take it off, and you got your sweats on, and you're ready for some coffee.
But I want to go to Belize, and I want to the hole in the ocean.
The blue pool.
Yeah, that's my bucket list.
Yeah, that's on mine still. Yeah, because there's a number of blue pools on the planet, but that's one I want to go to because that's where you can scuba dive with whale sharks.
Yeah.
And that's another one.
That is a reason why I want to go there.
Yeah, exactly. So, good for you. That's
I've
awesome.
been working with a guy over the last year, and if you're looking for like an economical trip that is kind of out there on what they do, this guy out of the Miami area in Florida has it dialed in. I've always wanted to catch a peacock bass. Those really pretty ones, and stuff. And he's got a really good number of great places that he goes down there, and they'll put you on peacock bass. But in the same trip, right, you get to hunt the evasive iguanas that have taken over down there with air guns. So noon, you have lunch.
There we go. That's got to be on my bucket list.
Or blow darts.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys got some practice.
Yeah. But yeah, he just takes away your rod, gives you your gun, and now you go out and you shoot a bunch of iguanas.
That's awesome.
And
kind of like going out to China Hat and shooting all the rabbits, and then you pile them up, and the next morning they're all gone because of the coyotes.
Yeah.
Farmers, want you to do that out there. But
so, I'll tell you, one of the most fun I've ever had, quote unquote, hunting is sage rat.
Yeah.
Out in Eastern Oregon. Oh, man, they got hundreds of them just everywhere. And you're just like,
they're just popping their heads up.
Yeah.
It's like prairie dog hunting,
Right.
We call them red diggers is what we call them. Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah. They would be fun to shoot.
It's a good management because there's a lot of cattle out there, and those dudes tunnel underneath and really wreck those.
They sure do. Yeah.
Those cattle herds. So
Right.
yeah. So you're doing a service and having a heck of a good time while you're doing it.
That's exactly right. And a lot of those farmers out there will give you ammunition if you're shooting rimfire and that sort of thing. Here's a brick of shells. Go out and
Go have fun.
Go have fun.
Yeah, they get so tired of those of the rats and the varmints, rabbits. Rabbits were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But shooting those with a scope was a ton of fun.
Yeah, we've got my son and I. We got into long range 22, so you get the dial up scope on this little bitty rifle.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
That's fun.
like 100 yards and didn't even see it coming.
Yeah. Have you seen the high caliber pellets or slugs that they now are
absolutely.
shooting? An air gun like we used to shoot the 177s or the 22s and Sheridans.
They go all the way up to 45 calibers.
50 caliber.
Oh yeah, 50.
And
my gosh.
And the 50 caliber, I think, though, at least one of the guns is a 5-shot automatic. So you can put 5 50 calibers.
Well, you remember Alan shooting that 50 caliber from his deck.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way across the bay.
Mm-hmm.
1,000+ yards.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was fun.
So
anyway, yeah.
It's stories, right?
Yeah,
It is stories.
There's stories.
Absolutely.
How about you, Ted? When are you gonna get out and what's your next adventure in the water or the woods or?
I'd like to get back down to Mexico
Yeah.
and fish for rooster fish.
Yeah.
I caught
You did catch one.
really nice rooster.
Really
on that
pissed me
trip.
off.
Big one, yeah. And I'd like to do that again.
Yeah.
And
There's
That
a
was
guy has a YouTube channel. They have a guide out of Panama. I think it's Panama. They do a kayak where you go out on the kayaks in the ocean, and there's rooster fish in there. I forget what. I'll have to get the name. I'll share it with you. But he's Field something is his YouTube channel, but it's all about this guide service down in Panama, and they go out on kayaks and they catch rooster fish in kayak. You see these guys pulling them up and like holding these
Right.
fish on top.
I want
of
that
these
experience.
kayaks. That'd be so great. I
Yeah.
really want to try that.
Absolutely.
That would be a
Fun.
ton of fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Anything I really even here I want to go out on Haystack, which is outside of Pacific City.
Right.
And you can launch through the surf, and you can fish for rockfish.
What do they call that? Because they don't have a launch there. They
Dories.
Dory boat.
dory
boat,
boats.
yeah.
That's where they
That's where
fish out of there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I kind of want to take the kayaks out there and see if we can get around that Haystack rock and see if we can get some bass. But yeah, I'm with you. There's also another one. It's called a mothership trip, and it's off of Southern California, either out of one of the islands there, off of either San Diego or off of Catalina or something like that. But you go out and you stay in a mothership boat, and then they launch your kayaks from there, and then you work your way around the island. And
Oh, really?
they catch big fish, even the flying fish. Like they'll.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Flying fish in Honduras.
Yeah.
I mean, the beautiful thing about Honduras is there's no rules.
Okay.
You can pretty much do whatever you want. So the three of us got on the front of this boat. We were going out on a shark dive, which was in itself amazing.
Yeah.
70 feet deep, really clear water, horseshoe coral, moray eels, because it's all choreographed.
Mm.
And so the guy comes down with his shark suit on, the chains,
Oh yeah.
the chain suit.
Yeah.
And he had big old bucket, and we'd all take all air out of our BCs, and we get on our knees around. This huge cod was like a dog, because he was so used to, having this guy go through this process, and I had to push and put my hand on this cod's face and push him away from me.
That's awesome.
And he'd come back and push him away. The lid would come off, the fish heads would come out, and there was maybe 15, 20 gray reef sharks. They were about 400 pounds. They're all females. The guy would say, whatever you want to do, you want to touch the sharks. They'd never let you touch them. They know exactly where you were at all times. But that was fun. And so it was so fun. We got on that boat again, and we would hit the wake, and we would come down, and the water would just we'd be hanging onto the front, and just the water would hit us, and we'd look down, and there's porpoises, and all the flying fish would just go woo. Every time we came down, they would just take off. It was wild.
Yeah. I mean, just to be in an environment where fish are jumping like that, that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun. I think there's a lot of adventure to be done in this spot. I don't know if anyone could do all of it in a lifetime, but man, it would be sure fun to try.
Oh yeah, you really think I've told my wife this. It's like, you know, I've lived in Oregon my whole life, and you could spend your whole life being an adventurer in Oregon, never see all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one state.
Yeah,
you know. So
hunting, fishing, either way. I mean, like my son and I, we've been looking for a really good place to bass fish, and we ended up floating the Willamette, not realizing that, wow, there's an actually amazing bass on the Willamette. And we caught a ton of them over this last weekend. And so now that's on my go out and do on a regular basis, because right now you chase the ponds for trout. That's boring. So yeah, I'd rather go.
You know, the umpqua, you know, you do the stripers and the bass.
Yeah.
And so you get your bass early, then you go fish for stripers. And I'd never caught a striper, so that I marked that one off my list.
Nice.
You know, so that was really fun to catch stripers. Yeah. That was this year that I did that. So yeah, I mean, my scuba diving years for 4 decades, had a really good time. We did a lot of scuba diving in the San Juan Islands.
Okay.
You know, so, and we would port at Friday Harbor and Roach Harbor. And then we'd go back out, we'd do night dives, and so I had a lot of whale activity, killer whales as well, sea lions, spear fishing was phenomenal. But this was late 70s, early 80s. It's not even close to being the same now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I sold
the gears.
I sold all of my stuff. It was so old.
Yeah. Now it's so much not advanced. I mean, because you can only breathe through stuff for so many.
Yeah, the rules don't change.
Yeah, all that's the same, but the dry suits and the ability to be comfortable at different depths is way different. I'm definitely more interested now than I was in even trying to spearfish or do that sort of thing here locally. But
the spearfishing's fun. Yeah, I really do enjoy it.
The only thing that it really worries me is you're killing something in the ocean and sticking it in a bag and letting that blood
you just took the words out of my mouth. They were called goodie bags.
Yeah, it is.
And you know this was late 70s, and marine biologists were saying that there wasn't any great white sharks in our water because they didn't want to be in that temperature, and they were totally wrong.
Yeah, except for the ones that just keep killing people.
Right. They go where the food is. Yeah. And there's seals all over the place. You're spearing fish. You put them in your goodie bag. You're swimming around. You got a blood trail.
Yeah. That's same with the kayak too. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I want to get into an argument with a shark.
Yeah, your kayak, you know, from their standpoint, it looks like a big seal.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So those were good experiences too. But liveaboards were a ton of fun. But you know, as you get older, you know, that's a really tough sport.
Yeah.
You know, it's exhausting.
It is.
You know, even with a wet or dry suit.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be in good shape.
You got to be in good shape.
Or the currents, the roll,
especially on the Pacific side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They're so strong. You can get yourself in big trouble.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Enough about scuba diving. That would be a talk of
all in its own.
Its own. Yeah. All those good times.
Well, anything else you want to add to the podcast? Any fun and any maybe some words of wisdom for those young folks trying to get into this outdoor adventure stuff? Words of wisdom.
You know, there wasn't any wisdom when we were here. But we got plenty of wisdom now. You know,
that's what happens.
That's true. Right? You know, they always say that, you know, a good friend, right, is one that will come and visit you in jail, you know, and they'll come up and they'll say, you know, what did you do, right? But a great friend like Mike is in jail with you, saying, "What did we do?" Right?
Oh, how did we get here?
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the hope is that you're not in jail in another country.
That's true.
They're not going to treat you as well.
That's
maybe.
true.
Oh yeah, there's another story, not of me, but a buddy of mine. Dick Step.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dick. Yeah.
Yeah, he got.
Yeah. I was on
I
that
won't.
trip.
I
I was,
and he got. He stayed out way too late, and he was at a club,
yeah.
and he did something, and one of the girls slapped him, and police came and took him
Jail
to jail.
in Mexico.
Yeah, and then we found out about it, and we went and as friends,
Mhm.
you know, but we gave him a nickname, Free Ride.
Right.
His nickname was Free Ride because you never get a free ride with the Mexican police, and he did. So that was his name.
Nice.
Sticks today, and that was watch out. There's a couple bees around here that are really annoying. But anyway, yeah, wisdom. We've got plenty of it now, but it just depends on your age demographic.
Yeah.
True. True. Well,
And
thank you, Brad. This has been
Yeah,
fun,
thank
man.
you, man. That was fun.
Reminiscent about old times. I am. They got a folder here with the Ted and Mike's Extravaganza, and just watching them look through it and remembering the past.
Breaking out laughing.
Yeah,
because you
They're like,
forgot.
oh yeah, I remember that. And I think that's the power of having good friends, being in the woods or on the water or camping or whatever it is. And my son and I, we look back as we go from a hunting season or fishing season, and last year we got into duck hunting, and the laughs that we had in a duck blind because we didn't have a clue of what we were doing, but man, did we have fun. And similarly, like now when we look back, we're like, man, that was so stupid, but hey, at least we tried.
Guys being guys, dudes being dudes. This thing that really caught him because he hadn't seen it for so long was terms that any man would ever say. The last 10 things that any man would ever say, and one of them here is, "Hey, buddy, I think we're lost. We'd better pull over and ask for directions."
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I'll just figure it out. Let's go down that road.
Her breasts are way too big.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
No, and here's the last 10 things that any woman would ever say. She goes, "Please don't throw away that old t-shirt. The holes in the armpits are just so cute." Or the diamond is way too big. Does this make my butt look too small? That's what you don't. You hear, but you don't say anything. Right.
Yeah. So, but it's like this is a sort of an example of like what it took you guys to prepare to go and have a good time with other guys in an environment where you're coming together with like-minded folks and having a good time on a weekend.
Yeah.
So
we certainly did. We did it every year. We improvised more and made it unique.
Yeah.
To what happened the year before.
Yeah. Like my son, when he was 11, I think he got to go to his first elk camp, and it's a lot different than hanging out with mom and dad when you go and you're with a bunch of guys talking about what a bunch of guys talk about.
Yeah,
when you're in the hunting woods, doing hard stuff. When you hike 30 miles in a few days, and he's dog tired, but we get back to the thing and we're all cooking dinner and having some laughs and maybe there's some alcohol involved.
Maybe, yeah.
Try to shoot a badger in camp because someone said it wasn't a badger, and now we had to go prove that it was a badger.
It could be worse. Could have been your wife.
Yeah. Ooh, ouch.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that really, really good times over the years. But I always told my kids, each
Don't do what I do.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah.
That's the wisdom part.
Yeah, the wisdom comes later.
That's the wisdom comes later. But I've always told my kids that every decade that you get older, what you thought was important then isn't necessarily going to be important now.
Yeah.
And I see that, when you have children and you get older, you get into your 40s. I've got 3 daughters that are all 40 plus, and it's amazing how they've changed, and I think about the scuba diving we were talking about.
Yep.
Man, I would love to go, but my body's saying, you got to understand you're older now.
Yeah, and it's not just you're not just floating and swimming, right? Like it's gonna really.
Yeah. Do you really want to be on a boat in the ocean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I probably don't.
So true.
I've got the memories, so that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up maybe right there. And
Okay.
thank you for letting me come out here and interview you and talk
fun.
to you about your stories. Everyone, please listen, and we'll see you in the next episode. But share this with others, because I think these stories are important. It shows us that us just regular folk going out in the woods having fun. It's not just about the big name guys on TV or whatever. Like we are just normal folks having normal jobs, going out and still having a great time.
Having a great time
on the water.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Ted. We'll definitely probably take you up on that fishing invite.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That'd be great.
Hey,
My boat needs to get out there.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a good day.
Okay.